Football legend OJ Simpson, wanted for murder, takes off in a white Ford Bronco.
Suspect named Orenthal James Simpson.
The slow highway chase.
And I was saying, I'm not going to shoot OJ. I don't want to do it.
Past thousands of spectators.
People holding homemade signs on cardboards, "We love you, Jews."
Oh my God, these people are warped.
Becomes the ultimate reality TV show.
It was like, wow, how is this going to end?
Confusion. My priorities were rearranged that day.
So we watched 15 seconds.
It will never leave my mind.
Tonight on Minute by Minute, the OJ Bronco chase. June 12, 1994. 11:45 p.m. Los Angeles International Airport. American Airlines Flight 668, bound for Chicago, is cleared for takeoff. Sitting in first class is 46-year-old Orenthal James O.J. Simpson, the retired NFL running back and actor best known for his Hertz commercials. A half hour later, at 875 South Bundy Avenue in the affluent community of Brentwood, LAPD officers discovered two bodies, both brutally slashed with a knife. One is immediately recognized as Simpson's 35-year-old ex-wife and mother of his two children, Nicole Brown Simpson. The other, a white male, remains unidentified. KNBC TV reporter Conan Nolan is preparing to work the late shift when he gets word of the killings.
I remember getting a phone call from the assignment desk and one of the managers there who said, "We need to come in early. O.J. Simpson's girlfriend is turned up dead, along with somebody else."
Nolan races off with a camera crew to stake out Nicole Simpson's condominium, a few miles from her ex-husband's home on Rockingham Avenue. Simpson's flight lands at Chicago's O'Hare Airport. Detectives reach Simpson at his hotel in Chicago and inform him that Nicole has been murdered. When he hears the news, Simpson cries out in disbelief. At the Brown family home in Dana Point, California, Denise Brown, Nicole's 37-year-old sister, is awakened by a ringing telephone.
All of a sudden, I hear this scream, and I run back to my mom's room. I'm like, "What's the matter?" And she says, "Nicole's been murdered." And I'm like, "Oh, my God." I said, "No." I started screaming.
Denise, who knows that Nicole's relationship with OJ has at times been violent, has only one suspect in mind.
I said, "Oh, my God, he finally did it. OJ Simpson, he finally murdered her."
1 hour later, Simpson is back on an American Airlines jet bound for Los Angeles. From the first-class cabin, he calls the Brown family.
I said, "You murdered her." And he's like, "What? What, are you crazy?" I knew in my heart that this man was responsible for killing my sister. And then he finally hung up.
Detectives swarm over the Bundy Avenue crime scene, looking for clues. They are outnumbered by reporters and camera crews. LAPD Deputy Chief David Gascon deals with the media onslaught.
Hundreds of news media people that had descended on the city, people involved in looking at the story. We were inundated with telephone calls.
Police immediately suspect the former football hero of the deadly crime. It's 7:30 a.m. In the New York newsroom of the syndicated show American Journal, producer Jeremy Spiegel watches television reports with staff members.
Immediately, the ears are perking up, the eyes are perking up. Wow, this is going to be a big story.
Back in L.A., where encounters with celebrities are a fairly common occurrence, the news hits closer to home. Dirk Valley has recently worked on a television pilot with O.J. Simpson, where he met Nicole on the set.
It's kind of like, well, that's weird. I just saw her a couple of months ago. Nicole and the kids came out, and he introduced them to some of the other actors and stuff.
25-year-old Alita Boston hears about the crime driving to her job as an insurance claims processor in El Segundo.
I just remember thinking that, you know, who did it? I never thought OJ did it.
OJ Simpson returns to his Rockingham estate. There, he is met by detectives and, for a brief time, handcuffed. Cameras capture the image, making it clear to the world that the LAPD considers Simpson a suspect. Tony Dill, a Los Angeles-based producer for NBC News, is on vacation at the time.
I happened to be walking past a TV set, and I saw O.J. Simpson in handcuffs, and then I just stopped. And the idea that he was involved in some murder was just very, very difficult to understand.
Robert Ajakwe, a Los Angeles public school administrator, catches news reports while on break.
I felt really sad for the victims, more so than the suspects, because anytime human life is lost, it's a tragedy.
Members of law enforcement, like millions of other Americans, feel a nostalgic bond with Simpson. Orange County Sheriff's Department Sergeant Jim Sewell.
When I was in high school playing football, O.J. Simpson was the greatest running back that I had ever seen. 40 miles from the crime scene, Santa Ana Police Sergeant Richard Merg hears the talk around the station about the murders.
I was wishing he wouldn't have done it. And those are my feelings. I was just rooting for him, and he's a hero of mine.
Santa Ana officer Jay Miller, who has recently separated from his wife, is watching television with his police dog when he hears about the murders. His first thought is that O.J. is somehow involved.
Whether you're rich or famous or poor, or it doesn't make any difference. People are capable of committing heinous acts no matter what their status in life.
Police have identified the second murder victim as 25-year-old Ron Goldman. In San Francisco, Goldman's younger sister, Kim, arrives home from work. Her boyfriend tells her to call her father immediately.
My dad was just praying that I didn't hear about it on the news, and my dad told me over the phone. For me to lose my only sibling, for me to lose my best friend, that's an awful, awful feeling.
One full day after the murders, reporters and a crowd of onlookers stake out the crime scene, fascinated by every morbid detail of the case.
There is blood caked onto the walkway. No one had washed it off. And as I'm about to report, a car pulls up. Somebody pops out of the driver's seat of the car, runs over to the walkway, and chips away some of the blood and takes it as a souvenir. I was flabbergasted.
Over at Rockingham, O.J. Simpson is trying to escape the press and sneaks out through a hidden path on his estate. He is driven by his friend, Robert Kardashian, to Kardashian's home in Encino. 3 days after the slayings, Beverly Hills psychiatrist Saul Fairstein is asked to meet with Simpson at Kardashian's home, where Simpson remains in hiding.
I met with O.J. alone for approximately an hour and a half that first evening to find out how he was and what was going on.
June 16th, 10 a.m. As detectives continue to collect evidence at the murder scene, O.J. Simpson attends Nicole's funeral in Brentwood and the burial service in Lake Forest.
I broke down crying because there you see this casket laying in the middle of the aisle. And you just think that, you know, if it wasn't for the person that was sitting one person down from me, this girl would still be alive.
A funeral service is also held for Ron Goldman.
He was never able to realize his dreams, but he was very goal-oriented and just full of life.
The same day, audio tapes are released revealing that in 1989, police were called to the Simpson home.
911 emergency.
O.J. Simpson. I think you know his record.
Okay, just stay on the line.
I don't want to stay on the line. He's going to beat the shit out of me.
Wait a minute, wait. Just stay on the line so we can know what's going on until the police get there.
Reporters are camped outside Simpson's home. They have no idea he hasn't been there for 2 days. Though the LAPD doesn't know exactly where Simpson is either, they're not concerned. Defense attorney Robert Shapiro has agreed to turn Simpson over to the police, if necessary. June 17th, 9:30 a.m. Saul Fairstein arrives at Kardashian's home. Also present are attorney Robert Shapiro, Simpson's girlfriend Paula Barbieri, and former USC and Buffalo Bills teammate Al A.C. Cowlings.
The atmosphere at the house was tense. OJ was a little nervous, was very talkative, and there was a lot of activity buzzing around him as he was the center of attention.
Meanwhile, word leaks out that OJ will be arrested today, and the media gather at LAPD headquarters downtown. Detectives reach Robert Pirro on his cell phone. They order him to bring Simpson in to LAPD headquarters to face murder charges. Shapiro is stunned and pleads with the police to give Simpson more time to get his affairs in order. They agree to an 11 a.m. deadline. The deadline for O.J. Simpson to surrender comes and goes with no sign of the former football hero. Shapiro calls police and negotiates once again for more time. Police reluctantly agree. O.J. Simpson is now an hour and 15 minutes late. The LAPD is getting furious. Police phone Shapiro again. This time, the lawyer hands the phone to Saul Fairstein, who gives the police Kardashian's address. Within the hour, police arrive. Fairstein directs officers to the guest bedroom.
So I went to the bedroom where he was supposed to be and discovered, to my shock, that he was not there, and Al Cowlings was not there.
The LAPD immediately puts out an all-points bulletin for Simpson and Cowlings. O.J. Simpson is now a fugitive. For the remainder of the day, a nation will hold its collective breath as it watches one of the strangest events ever televised. That's next, here on Minute by Minute. Minute by Minute will be back in a moment, here on A&E. And now we return to Minute by Minute. June 17th, 1994, Los Angeles, 2 p.m. O.J. Simpson, charged with double murder, was supposed to turn himself in to the Los Angeles Police Department at 11 a.m., but he has escaped from a friend's house and is now a fugitive.
Units attention to a suspect wanted for a double 187 in West LA Division. Suspect named Orenthal James Simpson.
LAPD officer David Gascon holds a press conference. It's been 3 hours since anyone has seen O.J. Simpson.
The Los Angeles Police Department right now is actively searching for Mr. Simpson.
I knew that the moment we did that, then all the eyes of the media would be all over Southern California. Everybody would want to find him.
O.J. Simpson right now is about 3 hours late, more than 3 hours late for surrendering here, and police are out looking for him, have no idea right now where he could be.
Kim Goldman, who has now gone 4 days without sleep, is home watching television with her parents.
It was a surprise to me that they were allowing him to turn himself in. I didn't understand that.
At this moment, O.J. Simpson is sitting in the back seat of a white 1994 Ford Bronco, driven by his friend of over 30 years, Al A.C. Cowling. Undetected, they drive south of L.A. to Nicole's gravesite in Lake Forest, but find it surrounded by police. They turn around and head north. Police helicopters and news choppers take to the skies in search of the Bronco. In the condo where Nicole Simpson lived with her 2 children, Denise Brown and her father are packing up Nicole's belongings.
We started hearing helicopters. It was like apocalypse now. My brother came up and he says, OJ's on the run.
Just then, the telephone rings. Denise's father, Lou Brown, answers.
Somebody said it's OJ's on the phone. He said that he was going to go end his life and that he was going to go be with Nicole. I mean, I'm sitting in the background going, kill yourself. You know, just do it.
OJ hangs up, and Lou Brown calls the police to report the cell phone call. The LAPD tries Simpson's cell phone number, but no one answers. They begin tracking him down using the phone's signal.
It is now official. O.J. Simpson has been charged with murder.
Orange County Deputy Sheriff Larry Poole is wrapping up a domestic violence call.
We had kind of varied information regarding what car he might be in. At one point in time, it was broadcast that he might be in a Mercedes-Benz.
In the Century City offices of defense attorney Robert Shapiro, an impromptu press conference begins. Shapiro appeals for OJ to turn himself in.
Please surrender immediately.
Then, Simpson's friend, Robert Kardashian, reads a letter that OJ left in Kardashian's house before fleeing.
I've had a good life. I'm proud of how I lived. My mama taught me to do unto others. I treated people the way I wanted to be treated.
Reporters listen, dumbfounded.
Everything's in the past tense, and it sure sounded like a suicide note to us.
But as a last wish, please, 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 leave my children in peace.
It was like, wow, how is this going to end?
Simpson and Cowlings have managed to elude police. In the Bronco, Simpson is carrying a .357 Magnum handgun and has his passport, $9,000 in cash, and a fake mustache and goatee. Meanwhile, Denise Brown is at Nicole's condo, watching Simpson's letter being read on TV.
He had said that he wanted to go and be with Nicole. I thought, oh, you are so full of it. Because you know what? You're too chicken to do something like that.
OJ Simpson has been on the run for nearly 7 hours when the LAPD finally gets a fix on his cell phone. He's in Orange County, 40 miles south of LA. Orange County Sheriff's Deputy Larry Poole spots the car.
I called dispatch and I said, confirm the license plate, and they read the license plate out that I was looking at on the rear of the Bronco. 3 Delta Hotel Yankee 503.
The chase is on.
Still northbound, just advise some units on the ground. You've got all kinds of people coming up here.
That's next on Minute by Minute. Minute by Minute will be back in a moment here on A&E. June 17th, 1994, 6:27 p.m. The I-5 freeway in Orange County, California. An alert has just gone out on the police band. Al Cowlings' Bronco has been spotted. Reporters are monitoring the police transmissions. News helicopters begin searching for the Bronco on the freeway. On the ground, Orange County Sheriff's Deputy Larry Poole is following the Bronco.
There was no way I could have possibly known the pursuit was going to evolve into what it did evolve into.
Poole isn't aware that Cowlings is behind the wheel and that OJ is crouched down in the back seat with a loaded .357 Magnum. Police departments in the vicinity hear reports that Simpson has been intercepted. They send units to the scene. Jim Sewell, a sergeant with the Orange County Sheriff's Department, responds as backup.
I saw Deputy Poole driving behind him, and at that point he just had his amber lights on. I pulled in right behind him.
5 minutes later, the Bronco enters Santa Ana, where officers Jay Miller and Gary Bruce join the chase.
And as I came around the on-ramp, the Bronco was right alongside of me. And I saw it, I let it get a little bit past.
I dropped in right behind him, advised control that I would be assisting on the car stop with my canine unit.
Traffic on the I-5 freeway begins to slow down as motorists respond to the flashing police lights. The officers decide to make their move. They activate their siren, but for a few minutes, Al Cowlings appears to ignore them. Finally, the Bronco comes to a stop just south of the 17th Street exit.
I remember very clearly hearing the sound of cars pulling up, coming to a screeching halt.
The police jump out of their cars.
I must have yelled out at least 20 times, hold your fire, nobody shoot.
Dirk Valley, a helicopter pilot who is filling in for a colleague at KNBC, is cruising the airspace above the I-5 with his cameraman searching for the white Bronco.
I see a police helicopter and then looked below him and saw the Bronco there with a few police cars.
Valley's cameraman sends the first live video of the Bronco to TV sets in L.A. as Cowlings begins gesturing wildly at police.
And what he was yelling at us was, I can't stop. He's got a gun to his head. He's going to kill himself. His demeanor was as if, I can't stop this, I'm not in control of this, it's Simpson.
Cowlings refuses to shut off the engine. Now, it's a standoff.
We never did see OJ Simpson during that car stop. He never did pop his head up and take a look at us.
Ignoring the commands of the two Orange County police officers, Cowlings puts the Bronco into gear and slowly continues down the freeway.
Oh, geez. You know, that didn't work. 9 times out of 10, it does. 9 times out of 10, once the guy stops and you start ordering him out, everything goes just like it goes at the academy.
Police scramble back to their vehicles as motorists and the television audience watch in amazement.
The police have confirmed this is the suspect vehicle.
I remember thinking to myself, oh boy, things are about to get real interesting.
Al Cowlings calls the 911 operator on his cell phone.
This is AC. I have OJ in the car, but you got to tell the police to just back off. He's still alive, but he got a gun to his head.
Police follow the Bronco with Sergeant Jim Sewell in the lead.
The driver of the Bronco indicates the subject is in the vehicle and he is armed and has a gun to his head. All units, stay back behind my unit.
Word spreads that OJ has been spotted.
I punched in the California Highway Patrol frequency to figure out where they are. And it doesn't take us too long before we appreciate that he is now headed our way.
Cowlings exits the I-5 and heads westbound on the 91 freeway.
We started to see people on overpasses just stopped, people waving. I distinctly remember seeing people holding homemade signs that said, "We love you, Juice. Go, OJ." I just shook my head. That was embarrassing.
What were they thinking? This guy is wanted for almost cutting somebody's head off. Give me a break. I mean, that's ridiculous.
The Goldman family gets a call from friends telling them to turn on their television.
I didn't have a feeling one way or the other whether he was guilty or innocent. I just remember people, you know, shouting and running to street corners to watch him drive by, and they were following the helicopters.
3,000 miles away at Madison Square Garden, NBC is broadcasting the NBA Finals between the New York Knicks and the Houston Rockets. The network breaks in with the chase, and suddenly, millions of people across the country are seeing the white Bronco with police in pursuit. Every media outlet is now broadcasting the chase. Helicopters follow the caravan overhead.
They're lined up abreast and following the vehicle at a very slow pace, just trying to keep it as safe as possible.
Denise Brown and her family are still watching from Nicole's condo in Brentwood.
How pathetic is this? When I saw this chase going on, I thought, unbelievable.
In Agora Hills, the Goldmans are transfixed by what they're seeing.
And it was just a fascinating story that was unwinding right in front of me that I had no idea what it would amount to. And then from that point on, our TV was just, we were glued to him for the rest of the night.
In Carson, Cowlings turns the Bronco onto Interstate 405 heading north. Reporters continuously update the audience.
And we expect that the suspect vehicle with O.J. Simpson inside apparently is going to be coming by here shortly.
5 miles away in El Camino, 13-year-old Cynthia Fury is home watching television with her grandfather and uncle. A minute later, the chase passes right by her house.
We're like, oh gosh, it's OJ. We just kind of stood there in silence for a while, and it was really eerie. It was just like TV had come to life for me.
There it is. We can see the driver. We can see the driver. We do not see anyone in the back. At this point, only the driver. But as you can see, this has become somewhat of a hot pursuit now. And people are coming up along behind in their own cars. Police apparently chasing the suspect's vehicle. Drivers now chasing the police vehicles, the CHP vehicles, all northbound now on 405 with hundreds of people watching this bizarre chase as it unfolds.
It was as though a concert had let out on the freeway. Both sides were packed with pedestrian traffic. And as we drove through those areas, it was kind of like a parting of the Red Sea.
Many people lining the freeways are clearly in support of O.J. Simpson. They cheer the Bronco and flash obscene gestures at the police.
There was a part of me that was thinking, oh, I guess he's bigger than I think he is, and these are his fans. And then I thought, oh my God, these people are warped. Like, who would do this?
School administrator Robert Ajacque is home, watching the chase on television. He gets into his car and drives 3 miles to the La Tierra overpass, where he decides to get out and watch.
It kind of reminded me of the chaos that took place during the LA riots, where people kind of lost a sense of civility.
I see CHP vehicles weaving back and forth wildly, trying to slow down the traffic that is civilian traffic, looky-loos, if you will, in hot pursuit of the hot pursuit.
Alita Boston is at home in Torrance, watching the chase on TV. Helicopters pass right over her house, a mile from the 405.
I really wanted to get in my car and go and root him on and make sure, you know, he knew that we were there so he didn't have to kill himself. I really felt that he wasn't going to make it out alive.
KNBC TV reporter Conan Nolan and his cameraman enter the 405. There, they wait in their news van for the Bronco to catch up with them. Within minutes, it appears in their rearview mirror, followed by police cars.
All the traffic going in the opposite direction stopped. I see along the banks of the freeway people with signs, and I remember thinking, how is it possible that they had time to make signs?
Nolan pulls out in front of the formation and via cell phone narrates a live play-by-play of the pursuit for KNBC.
There were at least 12 different black and white units that pursued from a distance the entire route. CHP, LAPD, Orange County sheriffs, as well as various jurisdictions.
Police are forced to dodge motorists who try to interfere with the pursuit.
Cowling sped up and went around them, and one pickup truck just rammed into the back of the other one.
The bizarre spectacle is becoming more dangerous by the second. The chaos on the 405 is getting out of hand, and police can only hope that it ends before disaster strikes. That's next on A&E. Minute by Minute will be back in a moment here on A&E. And now we return to Minute by Minute. June 17th, 7:18 p.m. Police continue to pursue the white 1994 Ford Bronco carrying O.J. Simpson, who has now been a fugitive for 7.5 hours. He crouched in the back seat of the car with a loaded gun, heading north on the 405 freeway in Los Angeles. His friend Al Cowlings is at the wheel.
19 States, 4045, and we're coming up, passing out of the Marina freeway.
Thousands of people are standing by the highway, watching the spectacle. Santa Ana Police Sergeant Richard Murg.
You had people running across the freeway. One guy almost got hit by the patrol cars.
Civilian vehicles on the 405 try to catch up to the Bronco, and Cowlings' driving becomes increasingly erratic. The cheering throngs and an estimated 95 million people watching at home are unaware that behind the scenes, the LAPD is desperately trying to get control of the situation. LAPD headquarters. After a number of unsuccessful attempts, Detective Tom Lang finally reaches OJ on his cell phone and tells him to get rid of the gun.
Man, just throw it out the window. And nobody's gonna get hurt.
Television crews are monitoring police transmissions and announce that Simpson is headed for his home. This sends hundreds of cars to the Sunset Boulevard exit of the 405. KNBC's Conan Nolan and his cameramen are still in front of the Bronco, videotaping through their rearview mirror.
He's headed down the 405, trying to make it clear, apparently, to law enforcement where he was going, and of course, that was the mansion.
In the midst of this chaos, Detective Lang continues talking to OJ. They are constantly losing their connection.
I'm just gonna leave. I'm
No,
just gonna
don't.
go with Nicole. That's all I'm gonna do. That's all
Hey,
I'm trying
listen.
to do.
Don't throw it away, man. Come on. OJ? Hello. Lost him again.
The Bronco is now only a few miles away from Simpson's home in Brentwood. Lang again calls and asks Simpson to throw his gun out of the car.
Come on, you're scaring the hell out of those people. They're being stupid out there. I can see them on the TV.
Coming up on Sunset Boulevard. 405 approaching Sunset Boulevard.
Cowlings turns off at Sunset Boulevard and finds a huge crowd waiting. NBC's producer Tony Dill is there with a camera crew.
They pulled over to the side of the road because they knew, they'd heard on the radio that OJ and this Bronco was going to come by. People wanted to see this because they thought maybe this is history. This is something that we're not going to see again.
Santa Ana police officer Jay Miller is one of many lawmen in pursuit.
People were running up and trying to touch the side of the Bronco as it went by. It was absurd. Waiting for some pedestrian to run out and want to have his moment in history and get killed.
Al Cowlings maneuvers the Bronco through the mob and heads west down Sunset Boulevard towards Rockingham. 7:45 p.m. OJ Simpson has now been on the run for 9 hours. An LAPD SWAT team quickly clears the house of Simpson's family before the Bronco reaches the location. Sharpshooters are stationed across the street and in trees surrounding property. In a city where tensions between minorities and police exploded into a riot 2 years earlier, it is a heavy responsibility taking OJ Simpson into custody. The LAPD SWAT team leader is Sergeant Mike Albanese.
You know, this is in the heels of Rodney King. The whole world is watching, and there are people that are waiting for us to fail. And there are people that want us to fail. Make no mistake about it. And we are not going to fail.
7:57 p.m. A cheering crowd meets the Bronco as Cowlings pulls into Rockingham Drive.
AC, pull me in my driveway.
I know, I see you. I see you.
The Bronco slowly wheels up the cobblestone driveway. Simpson is still hidden from view. Then, Jason Simpson, OJ's 20-year-old son from his first marriage, chases after the Bronco and is nearly run over by one of the police units following his father.
His heels actually kicked my front bumper. My thought at that moment was if he falls down, he's nothing more than a speed bump for me because there's no way I can stop.
Jason reaches the car, and 2 SWAT officers quickly restrain him and take him into the house. The incident with his son seems to unhinge Simpson, who drops the cell phone.
OJ?
No, they don't have to put him down. You don't have to put him down. I just want you to know I would never, ever hurt any of you guys. I'd never point anything at you.
Then, for the first time, OJ Simpson sits up and shows himself.
He had the barrel of a weapon that he had his chin resting on it, just like this, and with the appearance that he certainly had the wherewithal to commit suicide.
A SWAT negotiator takes over for Detective Lang. He tells Simpson to put his weapon down, exit the Bronco, and surrender. Suddenly, OJ's cell phone goes dead. Cowlings is sent into the house to get another phone. Standing just a few feet away, negotiators can now talk directly to Simpson. OJ takes the gun away from his head, remains in the car. A crowd and news crews watch from across the street.
There are hundreds of people of different colors, of different ages. It was more of a block party atmosphere.
Millions are also watching at home.
And I kept thinking, don't shoot yourself. Like, don't shoot yourself. I have to know how this ends.
I thought he was going to die. And it would have been sad because his kids would have been orphaned.
With nightfall approaching, SWAT team leader Mike Albanese senses Simpson is beginning to weaken.
I think he was waiting till it got dark before he surrendered, so that the media and everybody else couldn't film or see him surrender.
Albanese remains calm, slowly gains Simpson's confidence, and wears him down.
Then he made the declaration, just like that. He said, "I'm coming out."
8:53 p.m. 56 minutes after arriving at his home, OJ exits the Bronco, holding photos of Nicole and their children, Justin and Sydney.
He was kind of crouched over like this and kind of shuffled and literally collapsed in our arms.
Simpson is now in police custody. He is taken into the house, where he calls his 72-year-old mother, Eunice, to tell her he is safe. The media event that was his flight from justice would now give way to an even greater spectacle.
I thought, you know, there is going to be a trial. And these people that are saying, go Juice, go, and go OJ, and, you know, the whole thing, they're going to finally understand and they're going to realize exactly what this man did.
That's next on Minute by Minute. Where were you during the OJ Simpson Bronco chase? Tell us at ane.com. And now, back to Minute by Minute. June 17th, 1994, 9 p.m. After a 10-hour flight from the police, OJ Simpson is in custody at his Brentwood home. He is handcuffed and taken to a waiting cruiser. SWAT team leader Mike Albanese has led the tense negotiation.
It's just like immediate relief. It's like, okay, we're there. We're not finished working yet, but we have OJ.
The LAPD sends 2 unmarked cars out of OJ Simpson's estate. One is a decoy to confuse reporters. The other takes OJ on a 30-minute ride to the men's central jail. In the back seat of the Bronco, police find a loaded .357 Magnum handgun, a fake mustache and goatee, and Simpson's passport. Al Cowlings, who was also taken into custody, is carrying nearly $9,000 in cash. Freelance helicopter pilot Dirk Valley returns to Van Nuys Airport. KNBC pleads with him to go up one more time for the shots of OJ on the way to jail, but for safety reasons, he refuses.
I just felt tired. I talked to the station, told them it's like, look, I need to wrap this up. I want to get back on the ground. It's, you know, been kind of a trying day.
Santa Ana officer Jay Miller arrives home to an answering machine filled with messages from friends who recognized his unit during the pursuit.
There was also a phone call from my ex-wife informing me that they had seen me on television, that glad that I was fine, and oh, by the way, the divorce is final today. And talk to you later, bye. So it was a perfect end to just a perfect day.
Alita Boston is so moved by the plight of OJ Simpson that she decides to drive to his home. After seeing the chase on television, she has memorized the directions to Rockingham.
I had this poster board, a green poster board, and I thought, you know, I just wrote OJ's innocent. We sent my son to put the sign on the gate, and the next time we saw the sign, which was on the news, it was covered with all well-wishers.
January 23rd, 1995. 7 months after the Bronco chase, the nation's attention is on Los Angeles County Court as opening arguments begin in O.J. Simpson's criminal trial. KNBC reporter Conan Nolan covers the trial.
All of a sudden, people are looking at a trial, a case that involves O.J. Simpson and his beautiful wife in Brentwood. You have Playboy playmates that are being sworn in as witnesses.
Simpson's guilt or innocence becomes a matter for national debate.
There are a lot of people who took one side or the other. And usually, if you were black or minority or had problems with the police, you lined up on one side. If you didn't, you lined on the other.
The prosecution decides not to introduce the Bronco chase into evidence, though OJ's flight and suicide threat appear to many to be the actions of a guilty man.
What does this say about our justice system? What does this say about Marcia Clark not even putting it into evidence, this Bronco chase?
Prosecutors have said that introducing the chase would have given the defense a chance to call witnesses like A.C. Cowlings, who was sympathetic to Simpson. But many legal experts call the decision a terrible mistake. Simpson's legal team includes Robert Shapiro and Johnny Cochran. They mount a vigorous and effective defense, alleging police misconduct, racism, and evidence tampering.
We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Orenthal James Simpson, not guilty of the crime of murder.
O.J. Simpson is acquitted on October 3rd, 1995. The verdict is televised, and approximately 95 million people tune in. Their reactions show just how racially divided over the case the country has become.
I never witnessed the human emotions that arose based on your perspective of who was guilty, who was not. It almost even divided Los Angeles in two.
The verdict brings Simpson's threats of suicide to Denise Brown's mind.
I thought, Jesus, if he just would have done it, our lives would have been so much simpler. And it would have been done, boom, boom, right away.
He's a murderer, and he got away with it. There's no other way to explain that.
Al Cowlings, the driver of the Bronco, is never prosecuted for his part in the Bronco chase. February 4th, 1997. A year and a half after the criminal verdict, the Brown and Goldman families win a wrongful death civil suit against O.J. Simpson. The jury finds Simpson responsible for the murders and levies a $33 million judgment against him.
How grateful and how thankful.
The Bronco chase and the trials that followed changed the lives of many of those who witnessed and covered it.
OJ hit to the core, to the heart of what America is and what America goes through and the problems of America. Race was an issue, the police, how we look at authority. What do you believe? What do you believe in America?
Witnessing this was truly amazing because you knew really nothing had happened like it before, and there's a good chance nothing will happen like it again.
Producer Jeremy Spiegel moved to Los Angeles and covered both Simpson trials.
The OJ case changed the way the media covers the news, and it will never go back to the way it was.
Bronco chase witness Cynthia Fury is now a journalism student at El Camino College.
It's changed my life. It made me want to go into journalism and cover these stories and, you know, inform people about stuff that happens like this.
Alita Boston followed both trials and still worries about Simpson.
He can't even put his face out in the public without people, you know, being cruel to him. It hurts.
The police officers that pursued OJ have a different perspective. Orange County lawmen Jim Sewell and Larry Poole avoided the limelight during the OJ Simpson case.
I'm grateful to have been involved in the pursuit. It's something that I'll look back on in my life and say that was a neat thing that I did, but I don't want it to be the highlight.
There's one great photograph that has the Bronco, and then you see the Orange County Sheriff's Department, and I'm pretty proud of that.
LAPD SWAT team leader Mike Albanese says he learned one enduring lesson during the Bronco chase.
Up until that point, I thought I had seen just about everything. And after that day, I will never say that again.
Denise Brown made the subject of domestic violence part of her sister's legacy. Today, the Nicole Brown Foundation funds shelters for battered women.
And after finding her diaries and learning that she had endured 17 years of abuse, I started talking about domestic violence, and I traveled around the country because that was the only way that I was going to be able to deal with what happened to my sister.
Kim Goldman has done everything she can to move past the events of June 17, 1994, but she'll never forget the brother she loved.
There is a moment in my everyday life that something reminds me of him. I see a little boy that I catch a glimpse of myself in a mirror. Brother, there is something every day that happens. I deal with it because I don't have any other option.
Tomorrow, no laugh track, just the truth about the Mary Tyler Moore Show you thought you knew on TVography at 9, 8 Central. Now, Law & Order is next on A&E.